Hi, it's Tyron here. Welcome to another market analysis. This is the 20th of November. It is now Monday morning here in the UK. Starting off with the Aussie CAD. I did kind of have a little bit of a prediction here on this. Look at this monthly, always start from the high time frame. A lower high, potentially a higher low. It could have created another range bound market. However, we're starting to push a bit lower. We haven't taken the actual low out, which is right here yet. But looking at these levels, drop, base, drop, base, drop, if we close below here, probably keep an eye on this weekly. If we close below this level, then I'll be interested in maybe getting on board for some shorts, but only down to this area. There's a lot of mess here on this monthly. Big range bound market on the higher time frame, higher than the monthly, so to speak. But there is room for price to drop down to this sort of area. Whether it will be enough for my reward to risk, I don't know yet, but I'm just going to leave that one alone. Aussie Swiss. Let's enlarge a little bit some of these higher time frames. It looks like this level is holding here because we did close low, breaking the trend line. So a potential range bound market until we make some lower lows. Okay, we start to take out this level. This is potentially a range bound market. Whenever there's a trend line break, even like here, I look at it always as a range bound market until price tells me otherwise. So at the moment I'm going to do nothing until we get down into this area, and then I'll look on the daily. I'll have to ignore the weekly, look onto the daily, and look for some form of demand levels to form, trend direction, trend line break, even maybe the 240. Because there is nothing there to say this is going to be a range as such, but I have to look in this area if I get some indication on the lower time frame, like the daily. And by the way, time frame wise, I always call this the higher time frame, the monthly. This is the general pattern that I'm looking to trade. The weekly is either the confluence if it's a trend on the monthly, or gives me a little bit more insight into the pattern, which is the middle time frame. So the high time frame, the middle time frame, and the low time frame is the entry, whether I use the daily, the 240, or even the 60 minutes sometimes. But the low time frame is where I'm looking to actually get into the trade. What have we got though? We've got trend line. It's not really a break on the monthly because we've not closed below. This could be a reaction down here. We've got this weekly level. This is a counter trend level on the weekly, but it's with the monthly direction, and this is a nice rally, base rally, but it's not in line because it's a monthly uptrend. I really want the weekly to be in an uptrend. Okay, I have got the advanced way of getting in these areas. If I drill down to the, like I say, got the weekly, and we've got this daily level, and I even use the 240 and 60 minute sometimes in this area, or on the safe bet, if I'm not too sure, I'm watching the 240 minute time frame to see if we start to take out, first of all, any levels. So we've got this move down, and we've got some levels here. I'm watching all these levels. The trend line seems to be the one that's more reliable. Once the trend line is broken, I want to see what market conditions is breaking that trend line, whether it's the London session, the New York session, the Asian session. And I tend to lean on the London and New York sessions a lot. I like those levels. However, sometimes an Asian level, it all depends on what price, who's leading the market. So I have to do a little bit of a deeper analysis. I'll come into that another time. And these are just to get better entries. That's all it is. It's not to make you a profitable trader by any means. You can just stick to the. You could take a pot shot at a set and forget down here with about 70-80 pip risk, 25 pips below the low, just as a bit of a catching the actual extreme turning point. And if it stops you out, the chances are, if it breaks this level, that this is going to be a range bound market. So you've got to look at this as potential range bound market if this monthly does close below. so I'm not going to trade anything there at the moment. Like I said, the safe bet is get the, if you've got a higher time frame monthly, in a trend condition you want the weekly to align with it. Really, on the safe bet, that is the highest probability trading setup, and then the daily to align with that. And unfortunately, you know, you've got to sit on your hands for months for these setups to occur. We've got a range bound market. If I reduce this monthly, this is the area that really needs to be broken before price is in an uptrend. So we could bounce anywhere in this area for shorting conditions. So now we're up quite high. I'm looking to short this market. Let me enlarge that again. And the reason why I'm looking at this, just a chart pattern from this level here to this pivot point, we barely made it here. We've had a spike through, no close below, so I'm looking for shorting opportunities. I class this as a range bound, so I ignore the weekly as per my other videos, and I took this daily level. As soon as I saw this daily level form, I took it. And what I've done now is, because we've made another level here and price has closed below, we've actually made another little level kind of here, a little drop based drop, but very scrappy. So all I've done is I've moved my stop above this level here, giving it a little bit of room. When it's a range bound market, I tend not to move my stop very early. I let it breathe a little bit. But we've got this trend line here, and we've got this trend line break. What I'm looking for is it just to hold at this level and continue down. If it wants to stop me out, then I'll let it price rally a little bit higher. It might want to come deeper up into this monthly level, and then I'll have another go. So that's what I'm doing, playing it a little bit carefully with that Aussie New Zealand. Aussie dollar, I've got, actually we're in the trade now. I had an order and I placed it on a few hours ago before I got home, and it's actually made entry right here on this daily. And what it is I've looked at the, this is a little bit advanced. If you look at the monthly is clearly in an uptrend. We've got a nice little trend line confluence here, and we've just gone, you know, past the middle of the month. It's the 20th, so I'm expecting price to make a pretty hefty move up if this trend line is going to hold. And what we've got is the extreme of this weekly level right here. Let's just enlarge that. Let's get rid of this trend line. We've got the extreme, and price has just had a little bounce on the Friday, which is this wick. And when I drilled that down, I just had a little look on the 60-minute, and I wanted to see who made that bounce. And it was the New York's Open. Around the New York Open, price pushed up and it fell away, but it's still above this whole, in fact it's above the UK and New York Open. This was the UK level right here, the London level. It reacted, but the New York session took it up. So because of this, and we started to create an area of demand, I put above this mess, I put an order. Prices opened and dropped into this area with my stop below, which is below this weekly level. So the overall risk, and you can get in this now if anyone's watching this, by the way, it's about 50 pips, but my target is all the way up here because I'm expecting price to move. It's an uptrend. In fact, if price moves quite nicely on the daily, I may even push this target higher and higher, and there might be a nice trend on the daily. There could be a nice trend. It could even be a weekly trend. But I'll be happy to get out here and then get back in again. So if I'm not around, I'll just take that target. The safer bet would be to wait for this trend line break. But what happens when you wait for trend line break sometimes, or you wait for a weekly to align? This is a little bit of an advanced one. It's one of those I'm always looking for opportunities. It's well thought out. I'm quite happy to lose 50 pips of whatever price for the fact that I could make a massive reward. So I'm always a risk to reward player first. So if I see an opportunity, I take it. I'm expecting, just like these levels here were taken out, I'm expecting these levels to get taken out as well on the way up. And this is the overall picture that I'm looking to trade. So this is a little bit of an advanced trade. but we're right down in that extreme area, and like I said, it's just one of those things where the 60-minute is showing a nice level, the 240, based on the New York session. So I'm taking a gamble there, but the safe bet will be to wait till this weekly level. You know, if you want to play the rules very carefully. I mean, the problem is the way I'm playing it here, many people start taking too many trades like this and they're losing all over the place. I'm not like that, so I don't have much of a loss compared to a lot of other traders. So I'm quite happy to take a gamble here. But if it does continue lower, it's not quite a range bound, but if we close below on the monthly, then I would class this as a potential range bound market. And you know, I'd look from this area where price has reacted to be taken out before continuing with a trend direction. And if it does get taken out, the weekly will be in alignment, but this could be many months away. But if we do bounce from here, so if we do have a strong bounce, I'm already in it at the extreme turning point, and if we take the weekly level out, then time to get on board to continue this uptrend. It won't be a range bound market. So it's at that critical point that I see the opportunity. So let's have a look now at the CAD Swiss. Big range bound here. I'm still short in this, just waiting. Nice that we've closed where these wick areas is last week. Let's see if we can really push down, then I know we're in for a potential high chance of reaching this target. So not much to say on that, except my stop is now, I believe, 25 pips above this whole area right here. Yeah, about 25 pips. So this kind of range bound slightly down, so my stop's above here. If it wants to push up higher, then I'm going to look a little bit higher on this monthly for another opportunity, or it might be a rally base rally. So keeping an eye on that. CAD yen. Look, we're in an uptrend, and this is a monthly level right here, by the way. There's a close above, very strong monthly level, rally base rally. So longs are on the table. I'm going to watch the weekly because I don't want to take too many aggressive trades here. So I'm going to watch the weekly. Once the weekly levels have been taken out, or the trend line, and I probably will do something like this. Let's enlarge that. So once this trend line is taken out, and a level at the same time, then I'll be looking for longs, get the old daily in alignment. Got plenty of time on that. I've already in this Euro Aussie. I've got my target up here. My stop loss's been moved. Looking at the monthly, the big picture, rally base, kind of drop base rally really with this wick, and price is pushing up, not too far away from my target. I may even adjust this if we get close to it and we've got some very nice levels on the daily or the 240. Last week, if I drill this back down, I managed it below this level, then I was looking at this level for management, and now we've pushed up and I'm below this level, which is now a daily level. Not the best daily level, but it is a daily area. And we haven't had a close up here on a daily, but we've certainly pushed higher. But on the 240, as you can see, it's very clean. If we count these candles up, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these are 2 hour. So this would be an area in my book to actually take a long. So therefore, my stop is now below it. If it wants to take this area out, which is a 240/ daily, price may be wanting to come much deeper, a much deeper retracement, or it could be reacting from these highs, getting ready to attack this trend line. So I'm being a bit careful with this, but we have got this level here. So now my stop's managed below this daily level. If we push higher and into next week, then I will keep managing that and maybe adjust my target a little bit higher. The Euro CAD, look at this, it's quite range bound, choppy market. We've got this little range going on the weekly. I've had a pot shot at this and got stopped out, and I'm not interested at the moment. It's really not giving me anything clean. There's much better pairs. Euro Swiss, rally, base rally, looking for longs. This is a range bound kind of market on that daily, but we've got this little area here. There is no real closes above and below on this weekly. It's more of a daily area, and I'm not overly keen in trading this at the moment. We have got levels here. I mean, we broke the trend line, but it's clearly in a range on this daily. With these wicks, the way it's reacting, there is no direction. There's no strong close above. We're not holding. The direction is long on the monthly. If we look from this low to this high, definitely the weekly's in control, but it's a weak level. It's this daily area. So it's a range bound market. The best bet is to look at the extreme of this daily and take this level. But if you look at this, we've got rally, base, rally, base, rally, and we're taking these levels out. So it's either going to be right at the extreme and look for a reaction on a 60-minute, see if we don't take this level out, or wait for the daily to create some form of demand and some trend line, and that we can get in and take this up to around this 1.9 area. So I'm waiting out to see what happens on that. Euro pound, rally base rally, rally base rally here. We've reacted from it, trend line touch, it's pushing up again, quite wicky. So this is like you can see it on a daily, a range bound market. There's no real strength in direction. We're attacking trend line on the monthly and the weekly, and I'm not sure now if you would class this as this area as a decent weekly demand. Well, I wouldn't class it as a decent. It's a range bound market on this weekly based on wicks. It's a weekly slash daily, so there's no real strength yet. What I would like to see, be honest, is if we take these highs out, then I might get on board on the daily. It will be in line with the weekly. So let's just see what happens next week. Let the week close out, and I'll look at that again. The euro yen, range bound on the weekly up here. See trend line break, look at it as range bound, and which is what's happened now. We're starting to have a little close near these lows, potential reversal, but this is now counter trend. We've got this monthly level, which is this enlargement here on the weekly, so an x-ray shot of the monthly level here, and I want to just see if the monthly gets back in line, and then I'll take this higher. If we take this level out, and when we're still in an uptrend, that means you're going to have to, there is room, we can rely on this trend line. Once we take this level out, I just want to see if price drops deep, and then the weekly gets in sync with the overall monthly direction. But we'll see what happens there. It's not the best pair to trade at the moment. Euro dollar, again, we're on an uptrend definitely, but very overextended move. Now when you've got overextended moves, there's always potential for a bigger retracement. So this weekly level might hold. I'm not going to get involved with this uptrend until we start to form weekly demand. I'm not going to trade it at all until I've got some decent direction, because we might just range here. This might become a very choppy market for many months or a year before price decides which way it wants to go. So I let the weekly dictate the direction for me. And the pound Aussie, range bound market. I've got an order. I put an order. This is another one I put an order on right at the extreme now. This is a range bound market. We did take the trend line out down here. Let me just put that in. We've got a trend line break and close above. So price is pushing up, but it's a range bound market. We might have a strong push and then a big reaction. So I've got an order in there in case we get a very strong move up, which could be 300 odd pips this week. I'd like to short here. If we get stopped out, there may be, and there will be plenty of room, I'm hoping, for a nice long trade. Pound CAD, again range bound market, and could be a trend change because of this high taking out these two levels and a close above. So this is definitely a trend change direction, but this deep retracement, so when you've got two pivot lows near each other, range bound market, you know, definitely a range bound market. That's the first indication. Trend line break and a deep retracement. It's either a pause in this big trend down, so it's a range bound market, maybe a flag, you know, slightly trending up in a range formation, and then a strong break below. However, we've got room to here, range bound market, getting a bit late, but looking at this weekly, we've got some nice levels all the way down here. We've had all, when I look at the weekly overall, very nice respecting kind of levels. So I'm leaning on the levels that are going to be respected. We bounced from here, pushed up. So if we look at the daily, if you want to look at it like that, the weekly could potentially be in an up, the monthly in an uptrend or in a range, and pretty much the longs are in control of that range. Weekly is in an uptrend. Daily is now taken its trend line, and we've got this level right here in an uptrend. Price might not reach down here, by the way, but we've got nice 1, 2, 3, 4 candles up. I've got the whole week to see if this wants to drop again into this area. If it does, I will seriously be looking at taking that. However, watching very carefully, because we did have a close just on there, an open and a close above. So if this gets near the end of the week, it may well be worth cancelling this order Thursday, Friday, because it looks like it might close outside of this trend line. Okay, and it looks like with the way the market's moved down, we didn't really get much of a close outside the trend lines on the way down. So I'm really kind of leaning on the trend line as well to give me a little bit of idea whether this market is worth taking this week. So I'm going to watch this. I can give it plenty of time. It all depends. I really want to see an entry by Wednesday, Thursday morning, the latest. And if price is basing around here fucking about, then I'm just going to cancel this order. So nice quick moves in that daily will be very, very nice indeed. Pound Swiss. So we had this close above, could be a false signal though, and we've got a strong move back down. However, because we have closed above, I'm looking for buys. I had this level here, price had spiked up, and then I saw we nearly got stopped out. It retraced, and this trend line confluence was here, you see. So I moved my stop. I normally would have had two orders, one here, one here, but I moved my stop below this level. Nearly got stopped out, but price is now breaking this trend line, so I'm hoping now the market will resume its uptrend, going for a target in this area. It's a nice big target, looking at a potential, not a flag formation, but a push out now, because of this strong move down. Hopefully we'll have a strong move up. Trend line breaking out of the range, close above, so I'm now on board with this direction. The weekly's on board for longs, the daily was on board for longs, so we'll see what happens on that pound Swiss. The pound yen uptrend, no doubt about it. The weekly is in a uptrend. However, we do have some levels that have been taken out. We've got, let's enlarge this. This level, we had this level form. This level was respected, but we've got a little, if you can see from here, rally, base, rally. This was actually taken out, but there wasn't a close below it. But this whole pivot point has been respected, so I'm leaning a little bit more on the trend line. And we've got levels here that have been, you know, they're taken out. You can't really say there's a decent demand area to lean on, except for this low area. And by the time we get down here, there's a potential of a trend line, massive trend line break. So we've got a little level here, a rally, base, rally as well. So this whole area, again, we've created a pivot point here. If we start to take this out, we're going to have levels of supply above, but it's going to be counter trend. So I'll be keeping an eye very, very carefully on this. The advanced method is to, there's areas like this that might get us on board that monthly trend to continue. This might be a bear trap, where everyone starts shorting once we break this low, and this is the level where we go long. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait till we get in sync. So I'm going to wait for the weekly levels to be taken out and the daily levels to get on board. So I'm going to sit on my hands on that pound yen. Just wanted to explain that in detail so you can see how I'm looking at these markets. I'm just really understanding the price action, the supply and demand, the bigger picture as well. Supply and demand you can't see, which is why you rely on trend lines. Right, uptrend. Could be a basing area for continuation. Last week we had this level. Now we've got this level formed because of the close and the push a bit higher. Sorry, last week. This was a few weeks ago. This is last week's. We haven't had an actual close above this pivot high, so it's not the strongest level, but we have got the trend line confluence here. And what we've got is the daily in sync now with the monthly and the weekly, so I don't have to put a lot of weight on this. It's just everything's in sync and the levels have been pushing up. There's no demand levels being taken out, so I'm just going to lean on it. And what we've got now is this daily demand here that was formed. I had an order there, then I've changed it to here. We've got this daily demand, so my stop is now, it should be 25 pips below here. It should be about 25 pips below that low. I will double check that because it does look like it's out. 9032. Pound New Zealand 9032. So it should be 07. No, it is right, 90007. So the stop is 25 pips below this low. So I've got the stop exactly where I always have it mechanically. If price has a strong drop, that'll be very nice. But what might happen is it might not reach these areas. I'm hoping it will because we've not had a close above on that weekly. But if we drop down to the 240, and I'm going to drill out for this a little bit. This is a New York session where I've got my order. We have got a London level right here, but we've already had a reaction from it. So the only fresh area is this area, and there's no time that I'm interested in to trade this on smaller levels. Because it's a pound New Zealand, I tend to lean a little bit more on the UK, the London, and even the New York session. So I'm hoping price will just drop through all these levels into this daily area and get me on board this uptrend. Some orders on that. The pound dollar, again the pound is in an uptrend, potentially meeting this big picture trend line, but we're not there yet, so I'm looking for longs. Trend line confluence, not relying too much on these weekly levels, not really liking it, quite scrappy, but we're quite close to this trend line. We've got a range on this daily, so I want to just break out of this range to the upside before I start attacking this area and see if we've got some profit margin, because there's potential to break this and continue much higher. New Zealand dollar, let's just enlarge this weekly as well. We are potentially definitely range bound, but this, we've got like a, if you look at this high and this low, I mean, this is a an outside bar on a higher time frame than the monthly, which just indicates a massive range here. And what is dictating that? I mean, I've got this area here, but what is really dictating that then on the bigger time frame is this level here. Hold on, I don't want to move my order. Is this level here and this level here? Okay, because this is where the outside engulfing candle is on a 3 monthly chart. Say you've got 3 candles here, we've got a lower low here and a higher high, and now we've got an even lower low, so we've got now another engulfing kind of candle. So this is definitely range bound from this area. However, if we look, there's potential to break out of this. I mean, like I said, until we get below this, we don't know. But look at the chart pattern. I'm leaning a little bit on this chart pattern. We've opened and dropped quite low from this 2 pivot lows. So an early warning indicator. And if I come out to this weekly, we've actually had a close below where this line is, where price is right now, an actual close. And we've got this level formed right here. So I'm looking to short this market because we're now breaking outside of this potential range bound pattern, but we've still got to get through this level here. But I'm not leaning so much on that low. I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to put this back. It's this kind of area and this area now. If we start to get outside, that's an outside, you know, bar. Remember, it's a engulfing bar. If we start to break that and close, especially on this weekly as an early indicator, then we may well be looking for big move down. However, that take profit's got to be adjusted, by the way. It's going to be right down here somewhere. I'll put that order on, and I've not actually put my target all the way down. I normally put the target down before I put the order on. Actually, it's just the target should be right the way down low, and then I look to try and manage it on the daily. Let's just have a little look here. So we've got this weekly level, and what we've got is this whole area, which is a trend line break. So we're continuing with this kind of trend down, and we've got, let me enlarge it a little bit more, a drop base drop. As we come down, you see the levels are kind of being respected. This was the area that I'm interested in getting on board this trend, and I'm going to just drill this back out again. So we've got this whole area. If we break out of this, we've got this whole area to keep dropping down. This is all compressed demand. Like I said, the whole pattern is changing, so we could reach these lows again. So this is a good area to get on board this downtrend. Also, can you see this? Look at this strong drop. Flag formation with potential. This has got the potential to come down to this region, really. So it might have a very nice monthly trend to ride this down. However, I'll be a bit conservative. I'll be more than happy for a target there, and if we start to break these lows, then I'll try and get on board this again. So that's why I'm looking at this shorting opportunity right now. This is getting in quite early when you look at the big grand scheme of things. Dollar CAD. Now this is a kind of range bound counter trend. The reason why this big shooting star from this area, or hammer, or whatever you want to call it, doji, this is definitely a big reaction from this level. We've got weekly in control. The trend is definitely up on the weekly. The daily's been broken here. I did have a buy order already down on the 240 weeks ago, so what I've done now is I've managed it below this level we've got right here. So my stop is now 25 pips below that, and I just want price to continue up to my target, that direction. I'm quite happy to take a target there. Dollar Swiss, I've already hit a target on this, so I'm out this trade. Price is in a range bound market because of the trend line break as well. Definitely big range bound market. I'm not doing nothing here in the middle now, just going to leave this alone for a month or two. The monthly on the dollar yen, look, we've had a rally, a flag formation, and now we've actually had a close above a trend line with a retracement into a weekly demand level. So what I'm looking for, if you look at this daily, is see what we get on the daily. Even on the candlestick, if we get a nice reaction, a push down and a doji formation, well, this is the daily, I'll tell you that, this is the daily, we've got these levels. So we've got these little supply levels formed here. In fact, let me enlarge this. I don't want to wait until this is taken out, I'll be honest. I'm looking right at this extreme, because this, again, if I come back out, if we see we've broken this, we could have a very strong reaction to the upside. We're not quite, you know, past the 2/3 of the month. We're right there, so we could have a strong reaction any moment. So I'm looking this week for really a strong reaction. So I'm expecting price not to hang about here if it's going to work. So if we get down to these areas, it might have a very strong reaction. So you've got to keep an eye, and I don't know if I'm going to have time to do this. on the 240 minute, I'm going to zoom out here, on a 240 minute or 60 minute chart, and you've got this move down. So if we start to break the trend line and break areas of supply, now this is an area of supply because we have made a lower low, but it's not a strong area. This is the strong area. But if we start to break this, and because it's a dollar yen pair, I'm looking really at the US market to take these levels out. So I'm going to keep an eye on the time. If we've got the London or the US push up, it could even be the Asian market, okay, which would be about midnight here, strong move up, then I'm going to look for a very quick retracement to get on board, but it's going to happen very quick. If not, once we take this daily level out, then I'll look for some form of retracement, getting into a 240 or 60 minute level. That's where I like to get on board, because the market won't retrace so deep then. Once it's going to start to move away pretty fast, this is when these 240 and 60 minute levels that I talk about in other videos work extremely well. There's a time and a place to use them. It's like using your tools. You've got all these tools and you've got to use them in the right time and the right place. So that is the dollar yen. The dollar Singapore dollar that I'm in, this is a massive range bound market with a slightly higher high, so I'm just looking at letting that one play out still at the moment. We've got this level down here, which is weekly / daily really from this area, so I'm not moving my stop yet until we really push much higher. Then I can start to realize which time frame to manage this trade on to give it room to breathe. That is pretty much it. It's a detailed market analysis. As you can see, I'm already in trades, like I said. They're my orders that I've got. I've been all the way through it. That is it, guys, for this week. So hope that makes sense. Safe trading, and I'll make another video next week. All the best.